Coach Bruce Tan here with you today to break down some running technique analysis. I'm a head coach for Pose Method and one of the members of the team that conducts the CrossFit Pose Method specialty courses. The athlete we're going to highlight today is Josh Bridges. In this picture, Josh is in fourth place, fourth from the front in the first leg of the mile-and-a-half run of the Run Swim Run event, the first event of the 2017 CrossFit Games. So what we'll do first is zoom in here so we can get Josh in the middle of the frame. And the way we're going to do this today is first we're going to go through his frame count. So for the frame count, you're going to get two numbers. You're going to get one number on the front end and one number on the back end. And what we're looking at is overall how much time a runner is spending on single limb support in that phase of the running cycle. So to get a little more specific with it, we're looking for how long from initial contact it takes that runner to get into their runner's position, and then on the back end how long it takes them to get out of their runner's position. So what we'll do first is just scroll forward here and define the runner's position. So for Josh, it's going to look like this right here. So with that runner's position, we're looking at the right leg as a stance leg throughout this video, and the left leg as the swing leg. So the definition, or what we're looking for, is stance leg, or his right leg again, is slightly bent, and swing leg, his left leg again, is pulled up under his hip. So just draw a quick line here. I'm sure people have heard that figure 4 reference, or that figure 4 kind of picture in their mind. So that first line will be on his stance leg, the right leg. The second line will go from hip to knee, and then knee to foot. So that's what we're looking at for the runner's position, and that's what is meant by that figure 4 position, or figure 4 view. So we'll clear those lines out of the way, and now we'll back up and take a look at first when that right foot first hits the ground, and we're going to count how many frames it takes to get into his runner's position. So back up another one, and then go forward 1, 2. So foot first makes initial contact there, and then we'll start scrolling forward. 1, 2, 3. So we're back to his runner's position now, so it took him 3 frames to get to his runner's position. Now we'll go ahead and scroll forward. 1, 2, and you'll see in the third frame, his foot is already off the ground. So we'll say 2 frames to get out of his runner's position. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and back up all the way and just do a quick refresher on that. So foot makes initial contact there. I'll scroll forward. 1, 2, 3 frames to get into his runner's position. Then 1, 2 frames to get out of his runner's position. Again, in that third frame, as I scroll forward one more, his foot's already off the ground, so we don't count that frame. Okay. So Josh's number is 3 frames to get in, 2 frames to get out, or 3 and 2. Now this video is being broken down in 60 frames per second. So ideal would be 2 frames to get into runner's position, 2 frames to get out. So he's not doing too bad at all here. So now what we'll do is back up and look at a couple finer points, and just look again where that foot makes initial contact with the ground. And what I'm going to do now is take a line and just draw from his foot straight up, right about there. And now what we're looking at here is where that foot is in relation to his general center of mass when it comes down to the ground. Now ideally we want that foot as close to underneath the hips or underneath the general center of mass as possible, because the further that foot gets out in front, the more of a braking effect you're going to have, the more time you're going to spend, and the more energy you're going to spend trying to overcome that braking effect, get back into your runner's position, and then fall to move forward again. Okay, so that is taking a look at just where initial contact is in relation to center of mass. Now what we'll do is scroll forward again into his runner's position. Just take a quick look at that. So ideally in the runner's position, we're looking for shoulders, hips, and support or foot to all be stacked in a straight line. Now you can see here, shoulders and hips are slightly in front of his support or his foot, and I can also draw a line from support straight up, and again you can see slightly ahead of that. So what we want to see is everything stacked up nicely on top of each other, shoulders on top of hips, on top of ball of foot. So he's actually a little forward and wasting, we'll call it, a little bit of fall to get into that runner's position. So let me back up actually one frame here, and now this isn't the perfect profile view because the camera is moving as well, but in this view now I'll start the foot and bring a line straight up, and you can see a pretty good stack position there. So shoulders over hips over ball of foot, but you can take note of that left foot or that swing foot still lagging behind a little bit and not completely recovered up under the hip. So I'd actually like to see Josh get to his runner's position in this frame, but as you can see when I scroll forward one more, it takes one more frame to recover that foot fully under the hip. Okay, now we'll talk about his falling a little bit and why some of the other things are happening as a result of spending a little bit too much time on the ground. So Josh is in his runner's position. I'll scroll forward one frame, and you can see the swing leg or the left leg here is still relatively, the heel is still in line with that stance leg, so he's doing a good job of falling there. And real quick, I'll just draw some lines. One line there in the vertical where support is. Then I'll take my second line from the hip down to the foot. And what we're looking at here, what this angle would be right in here would be his falling angle. We're not going to measure that today because that's getting a little into the weeds, but that's what we're looking at in terms of falling angle. So I'll scroll forward one more frame, and now you can see that swing leg, or the left leg again, is well in front of the stance leg, and at this time his only job is to recover that back foot up under the hip. So that right foot should recover directly underneath the hip. Now what you'll see as we scroll forward a little bit, that foot pulls, but it pulls straight up. So instead of following that line and recovering directly under the hip, you see more of a line coming straight up. Okay, go forward a little bit more. So that foot travels straight up, and once it gets to this point, now it's going to start to, say, swing forward to recover under the hip. Okay, so I'll take those lines out, back up a couple frames, and we get to here, his runner's position, forward, still good, and then you'll see that stance leg or the right leg, it'll pull straight up and then swing forward. Okay, and again, what we're looking for is that foot to recover a little more directly underneath that hip. So just the lack of direction with that pull. Again, trying to see it come more so here than there. Okay, and really what this does is sets up, we're going to go back to the opposite leg, and we'll show you why that right leg is swinging out in front. So we're going to say that's looking like his runner's position there. So as he falls forward, that right leg has now passed the left leg, and now all that left leg should be doing is recovering right under the hip. But again, you'll notice it'll kind of drift upwards a little bit, and now it'll start recovering under the hip. And the longer that leg stays on the ground, that back leg, it gives the swing leg, so there's that back leg staying on the ground, then here's the swing leg. It gives that swing leg more of an opportunity to come forward and get out in front of his center of mass, right? And this is also a good example here. We'll kind of dive back to this real quick. As you'll notice, as that right foot's coming forward, nice and relaxed, and at the last minute, it gets what we call an active landing. So you'll see, as I back up, that right foot swinging through, foot's nice and relaxed, still relaxed, and then right there, you'll see the toes, or the front of the foot, start to pull up towards the head, which just causes that heel to come down first. So we'd also like to see a nice relaxed foot. Let that foot come down in your natural landing pattern instead of pulling those toes up at the last minute and just having that heel come down first. So again, that's all set up though by that late pull with that back foot. So that back foot stays, and that right foot again has the opportunity to swing. Now it gets out in front, toes are pulled up, nice active landing, and we want to see that again, more passive, or just let the foot relax and let it come down to the ground naturally. Alright, so again, hope this was helpful. This is the first 1.5 mile run. I would love to see what Josh looks like on the second 1.5 miles, how the swim and the fatigue may have affected his technique, but we weren't able to get a great video of the second leg there. So again, hope this was helpful, and we will be doing a number of these for our 2017 athletes, and we'll look forward to breaking another video down with you again soon.